everybody, it's Abby Glassenberg at Craft Industry Alliance. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. It is a dreary and rainy day here in the Boston area, but we are very excited to be doing our member spotlight today. We're going to be talking to a longtime member of Craft Industry Alliance with. So I think it's going to be really fun. And this is really an opportunity to drop in on a Craft Industry Alliance member and learn more about them. Hi, Alicia. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me, Abby. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, and I feel like we've known each other for a long time,
Yeah,
and you've got something new that you've been doing that is super exciting and very cool, very original. So tell
thank you.
us about it. It's a podcast, so tell us about it.
So last September, me and my sister started sharing episodes of our podcast called Handmade History. And every episode, we pick a topic. It could be a person, it could be a whole craft, like we did an episode on lace, or it could be more about materials. And we share the history of it and we tell stories, all researched very carefully. And yeah, we just talk about it and kind of share the stories about this to give people a better connection to the past and a better understanding of what we're actually doing today.
And how did you come up with this idea? Because I was a history major in college, so, and I love to read history, and I love history, but I feel like it's pretty unusual to do either a podcast or articles or anything really where it's always connecting today's craft market with the past in this way. So what did you see something or read something that sort of sparked this idea with your sister?
Well, one inspiration was definitely the podcast Stuff You Missed in History class, which I just love. It's two women and they talk about just topics in history, kind of like what we do with crafts. So I had been a long time fan of the podcast, but actually it was writing a few articles for the Alliance where I was doing research and kind of discovering um, these different little pockets of history that maybe you would learn about if you lived where the story took place. Like once I was researching, I did a profile of Kid Cardiac, who makes these awesome rugs, these very cool custom rugs. And so I was looking up rug making in the US because she is based in the southern US. And I discovered that Georgia, for a while, was the like center of rug making, or chenille, I think, in our country, and I had no idea. And so I thought, well, this is like cool. I want to learn more about this. And so I kept finding different rabbit holes like that. And yeah, I didn't necessarily think, so I work as a freelance writer. And I didn't think that it would be super easy to pitch a history only column, but I know that I personally love getting like a little tidbit in a podcast, or hearing a cool story like that in a podcast. So I thought maybe this could be a podcast.
Totally. It's a great idea. And so, is your sister also in the craft industry, or was this something brand new for her? Or do you guys, like, how did you decide to do it with her?
Well, I knew I wanted to co-host because I just love that format, the like back and forth. So I asked my sister because she is a very crafty person. So she doesn't work in the craft industry, but she makes amazing crafts. She has earrings when she was younger. Um, and she also loves to listen to podcasts. So that's kind of the spark. I also thought it would be fun because me and my sister have a bit of an age gap. So she's 10 years younger than me. And we joke, it's true, we are technically from different generations. So I'm a millennial and she's Gen Z. So I thought that'd be kind of a fun little, like, it's a little bit of a thing to talk about when we're talking about crafts.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think that having a good, strong relationship really does help with like the banter between the two co-hosts. So
Yeah.
that's really nice. And so tell us a little bit about how you figured out how to start a podcast, because I think there are lots of craft businesses who thought, oh, I would love at some point to have a podcast. How easy or hard was it to sort of get going with like equipment, figuring out like posting and all of those sort of editing, all those sort of more technical pieces that sometimes people feel overwhelmed by and then think, oh, it's too much work. I don't know if I want to do this.
That's fair. I will say it's a little overwhelming now because there are so many tools available, but I made a podcast about 8 years ago, no, like 10 years ago. That was just kind of sharing like my behind the scenes as I was writing, after my first kid was born. And it was a lot like tricky do technically, but there were also so many fewer options. I learned how to do it from Tara Swigger. She started her podcast and she wrote a blog post about it. So I think I did go back to that blog post when I started this. But the service that I use is Libsyn, and it stands for Liberated Syndication. It's super easy to set up your podcast on there, and it's like very, very affordable, and it will distribute your podcast to everywhere. So then the other piece, so that's hosting where you will like put your podcast. The other piece is the recording, and I just record on the program called Audacity, which you can just download to your computer, and then I edit it using an online mixing service. So it kind of just like smooths out the ups and downs. It makes it a little bit more even, makes the recording sound a little bit better. And that's called Ophonic or Auphonic, Auphonic. And they are also they have a free version too. So yeah, so everything is very affordable, which is nice. So you can get started quickly if you have a big budget. And yeah, it's not hard. I would say it takes like maybe a week, or, if you're spreading it out, doing it in little bits of time, or just like an afternoon to get things figured out, your workflow. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
That sounds great. And I do love that there are more options now and that
yeah.
there are still very affordable ways to make a podcast if you want to do it yourself and not, hire professional editors and all of the rest. So you can definitely DIY this by
Oh,
learning a few things. And the other thing I was going to talk about a little bit is like planning ahead and making sure that you have, because you have to do a lot of research for yours,
yeah.
making sure that you have a schedule and content coming up, and sticking to that schedule because, of course, listeners really like something that is reliable. They know, oh, every Monday the new episode drops or that sort of thing. And so, how did you figure out like the frequency that was going to work for you? Are you doing like seasons, like you do a few months and then you take a break, or how did you kind of figure that piece out?
Well, I decided to go bi-weekly to give us a bit of a buffer because we have to record it and then I edit and post it. And at the same time, I'm probably searching the next episode. So I thought every 2 weeks would be doable. And I looked at a few other podcasts that I really like the Love to Sew podcast, and I
Mhm.
noticed they take a summer break. And I thought that seems like a very sustainable way for me to keep this going. So we also take a summer break. And we post basically from September through May with a break around the holidays and winter. And I like that because it follows the school year, works for my schedule with my family right now. But also, I feel like it kind of matches what we're doing, which is just like a little bit of education or edutainment. So you can kind of, kick off in September when you're getting excited to get back into the swing of things, learn something new, and kind of follow us through May.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I love that you were thinking about the sustainability of it from the outset because I think a lot of people make the mistake of getting super excited about having a podcast, thinking that, okay, I'm going to do it every single week. And, then after 6 episodes or something like that, I think the term is pod fade,
Yes.
where it's not sustainable. And I don't know how many podcasts have been abandoned that started that way, but I think it's the vast majority.
Yeah, we really wanted to make a model where we could stick with it for a while. So,
Yeah, I agree for sure. So tell us some of your favorite episodes. So if people are just getting started and they go back to your backlist of
yeah.
existing episodes, which ones should they start with or were some of your favorite topics?
So, one of my favorites was the history of the pride flag because I got to read about hippies dyeing fabric on the roof of a building in San Francisco, and that's just super fun history. Another one, our first episode. The audio quality is not as good as later episodes, but I think it's a really unique topic. It was radio homemaker, and they were early women who were on the radio and had their own shows. And really, a lot of parallels come out between those radio shows and podcasting. Like they would have affiliate marketing kind of deals or brands that they would pitch. So I really loved learning about that, sharing those women's stories because they were really remarkable. Um, so yeah, those are two of my favorites.
Yeah, so they were like the early influencers in some way,
Totally.
and it was about homemaking, which included crafts.
Yeah, definitely. And they would give
Yeah.
tips about how to do this or that, or yeah, it was very
And
cool.
so, if listeners have a topic that they would like you to dive into, is there a way for them to recommend a specific
Yes.
historical crafting topic that they know
Yeah.
about?
We love to get listener suggestions. So we're actually going to do one this season that's a listener suggested called hair work, which will be very interesting. But you can either email us, we're handmade hosts, HOSTS at gmail.com, or you can message us here at Handmade History Podcast on Instagram. But if you go to our website, which is handmadehistorypodcast.com, you'll find all those options there too. But yeah,
That's
to hear your topic suggestions. They're always super fun.
Yeah, that's super. So, do you have plans or have you had plans to monetize this? Because even though you're doing it in a sustainable way, bi-weekly, taking the holiday break, taking the summer break, it's still a lot of work. There's several hours of research and then recording and then editing that
Yeah.
go into making it happen. So, I don't know if you've had sponsors or you're thinking about that, but tell us about that plan.
Yes, we've started. We have a sponsor. Our first sponsor is Folkwear Patterns, and they are really great to work with. And we hope we will find other sponsors like Folkwear who are a small, maybe crafty business that has some overlap with our topics. And we do such a wide range of topics. I feel like we can fit a lot of different types of businesses who are working in the crafty space. And I also try and think of us as like a lot of times a company will think, oh, I should make a podcast. You know, that's what people are doing now. Great way for me to advertise and show, what my business is about, or just kind of get my name out there. But I think that we would like to be that vehicle for other companies because, like you said, every company doesn't have the bandwidth to produce a podcast, but we have so many topics that are relevant to so many different businesses. I think it's just a great vehicle for other craft businesses to share their brand. So I'm hoping that we can be that for more companies. So yeah, definitely sponsorships is part of our model. We're also going to probably start our Patreon this year. A lot of podcasts kind of split it between sponsorships and Patreon, and I like that model because then you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. So
Right. And you can release some exclusive audio content to your
yeah,
patrons.
yeah,
Is nice also for them, for sure.
yeah.
So I love that. And I think Folkwear is a great fit because, of course, they produce historical
Yes,
patterns. So that is a great fit. But I could also see, I know there's some amazing YouTubers who have huge followings and who do like historical costuming. There's lots of companies for whom this would be a great fit. Even some of like the bigger sewing machine brands and Notions brands, like this is a really
yeah,
unique um, audio experience where people are going to be doing a deep dive. And one of the things about sponsoring a podcast is you're talking directly into people's headphones. So it's a very intimate and memorable thing to do. So I encourage brands who are thinking about it and, as you said, may not have their own podcast to consider collaborating on something like this.
yes, that would be great. We would love that.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so if you are a podcast listener or you're not yet but want to start and want to start with him in history, where could you go? Like, how can you access this audio?
It's a great question. So you can find us, you can search us up in any player, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, but also all the other smaller podcast networks that people like to use. You can just search Handmade History and you should find us. You can also go to our website, handmadehistorypodcast.com, and you can click on the listen tab and you'll be able to listen to every episode right there in your browser. So it's very easy. You can see each episode title and then there's a link that says go to our whole catalog. So you can listen to all of our backlinks right on your browser.
Right. And start by following along on Instagram so you at least have that going. And this is great. Alicia, I'm so happy we had a chance to sit down and chat about this project. I love it. I'm very excited about it, and I can't wait to see all the great episodes that come out in the future.
Thank you so much, Abby. That means a lot. Thanks so much for having me too.
Thanks everybody for coming to our member spotlight today, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.